What's going on, YouTube? It's Deeply in Love. Tonight I have my 10-year-old daughter operating the camera via the passenger seat. So go ahead and say a little hello, Leilani.
Hi.
So I wanted to address a topic regarding the music industry and whether or not it is over sexualized. And to answer that question, I have to honestly say yes and no. I mean, my reasons for saying yes are obvious. I mean, there is absolutely a lot of sex and sexual overtones in the music, not only in the lyrics, but also in the videos. But at the same time, I say no because the music industry has always been sexual. I personally don't feel like the music industry is any more sexual in 2010 than it was in 1910. I think the only difference now is the sexuality is more upfront. Definitely a lot more upfront than it was, say, 10, 15 years ago. But the reason, you know, for that is, you know, back in the day, things were a little bit more underground. My grandparents have Red Fox albums. I have listened to some of the music that my parents listened to when they were coming up in the 70s, and some of that stuff was downright vulgar. So again, I don't think that the music industry is any more sexual today than it has been in the past. It's just that things are more mainstream. Now, with regard to the new Raheem DeVaughn video, I personally think the video is hot. DeVaughn from New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey, so, you know, New Jeru, Dirty Jersey, stand up. He's a talented brother. Now, is the video appropriate for children and teenagers? No, absolutely not. But at the same time, Raheem DeVaughn is a grown man making grown man music, and somebody brought up the argument, you know, I expected more of him. He's supposed to be a conscious brother, and why would he you know, make a video that's borderline soft porn? You know, oh, he's just selling out and trying to be like the rest of them. And I say this: artists should be allowed to grow, and as fans, you either roll with it or roll out. Art is something that is very personal. So, although you may be accustomed to, you know, Raheem DeVaughn, you know, making songs like Bulletproof, where he's addressing the things that are going on in the community, we as human beings have many facets to our personality and what makes us individuals. So he can't be fight the power all the time. I mean, sometimes you gotta be sexual. Look at Marvin Gaye. Absolutely, he made songs like What's Going On and, you know, make me wanna holler. But at the same time, he made songs like, you know, Let's Get It On, and the Isley Brothers too. They made songs that were very much speaking to the people and the things that were going on in the communities, but at the same time, they made that music that you can make babies. Somebody also brought up the subject of Sierra and outright calls her a slut. And, you know, I have to disagree with that for two reasons. I mean, number one, we don't know Sierra. I mean, maybe some of you do know her on a personal level, to disrespect that female like that and call her a slut. But number two, going back to what I said before, you have to allow artists the opportunity to grow and for their artwork to grow. So when Sierra came out with My Goodies, she was 19. She is a 25-year-old grown woman right now. I mean, it's pretty obvious that she's having sex. So she's going to sing about things that are personal to her. I don't have a problem with her expressing her sexuality. Now, some people made the same argument with the Raheem DeVaughn video. Well, it's not right to put videos out like that where children and teenagers can have access to them, and society as a whole is already oversexed. That's your responsibility as a parent. It's not Raheem DeVaugh's responsibility. It's not Sierra's responsibility. Somebody else brought up the subject of Keri Hilson's new video, and how provocative the lyrics and the video are. I haven't seen the Keri Hilson video because I'm just not, you know, I don't like the word fan because I'm not fanatic for anybody. But you know, I'm really not into her music. It's just not my thing. So, you know, I had to go online and look for it. And Perez Hilton had a link to the video. So before I even listened to what she had to say with Perez Hilton, I watched her video. And immediately, I was pumping my fists for Keri. Do your thing, the choreography and everything else, and go ahead. Pop your coochie, Keri. You're grown. Children ain't got no business watching the video in the first place. So after I watched the video and after I finished pumping my fists for Keri and saying, damn, I need to get this song downloaded on iTunes and add it to my iPod so that the next time I'm in the gym and I'm on the treadmill, that's what I'm going to be listening to when I'm working it out. I did click on the interview with her and Perez Hilton, and she said pretty much the exact same thing that I said, that as an artist, she is growing. And she also added that the video is not for children. And I could not agree with her more. Are you allowed to listen to that new Keri Hilson song? Have you even heard the new Keri Hilson song?
No.
Have you heard the new Raheem DeVaughn song?
No.
She's telling you the truth. Do I check your MP3 player to what you're listening to?
Yes.
Do I have certain music and artists and stuff that you know that you are not allowed to listen to?
Yes.
And what happens if you sneak and listen to them?
I'll get my MP3 taken away.
And what else?
I'll get a spanking.
Well, not necessarily a spanking. Don't try to make it seem like I'm abusing you, but you will receive some type of restriction and a punishment, correct?
Correct.
I say all that to say it's our responsibility as parents to monitor what our children listen to and what our children are watching on television, and the movies that they're going to, and even the friends that they are hanging out with. Don't be afraid to get to know the parents of these little boys and girls that your children are hanging out with. If I find out that my daughter or any of my children have a friend and the parents are loosey-goosey, guess what? My child is not allowed to spend too much time with that child anymore, because I know that me and that child's parent or parents are not on the same accord. Jackson came out with the video, or with the album Control. She was 19, 20 years old. And, you know, she had a song on the album called Let's Wait a While, and that was all sweet and cute. But 7 years later, when she came out with Janet, you know, she's singing about, ooh, baby, don't stop, and throb and everything else. That was 27-year-old Janet. That was grown Janet. Now today you got 44-year-old Janet embracing her sexuality. A lot of these female artists now, when it comes to their lyrical content and you know, their dance moves and everything else, they emulate Janet, because she was like one of the forerunners. I don't hear nobody too quick to refer to her as a slut. Her artistry has certainly evolved and matured over the years. I mean, when she came out with like one of her first albums, and she did have, I think, a couple of albums before she came out with Control, you know, it was very bubblegum, but she was a teenager. I know from a personal standpoint, when I did write stories and poems, my content today as a grown 33-year-old woman would not be the same as it was when I was in my teens or even in my 20s. I've grown and I have experienced things. So if I right now decided to put pen to paper and wrote a song about a man with his head between my legs, that absolutely positively does not make me a slut. That makes me a grown woman. Jill Scott even has a song called Crown Royal. She's talking about, you know, your hands on my hips, pull me right back to you. Catch that thrust, give it right back to you. We know she's not talking about football, but at the same time, Jill Scott puts labels on her music, and she lets you know that although the lyrical content may not be exactly vulgar or explicit, that she is talking about adult subject matter. So you have the option of either A, not allowing your children to listen to it at all, or B, be prepared to have that conversation with your children about exactly what it is that is being spoken about and sung about. But it brings it all back to what I said before, is that we have that option and we have that right as parents. And we have to stop placing the blame on these artists, and we have to stop placing the blame on the music industry as a whole. Because as parents, we have to monitor what our children are watching and listening to, and who and what they are exposed to. Leilani, you have a V-chip on in your television, correct?
Yes.
And if you try to watch something that I think is inappropriate or that is above a certain rating, what happens to your television?
It will go off. It will go off and say this thing like, enter the password.
Or what else?
It will shut off.
A lot of televisions, as a matter of fact, most televisions, or even your cable boxes or your direct TV boxes, or however you access television, they have this technology in it where your children don't have to be alone in their rooms watching something that is inappropriate for them. They have this technology, parents. Utilize it. So it's in our computers too. Excuse, well, you know, they can access this because both the Keri Hilson video and the Raheem DeVaughn video are not videos that you're likely to see in the mainstream on like a BET or an MTV. They're internet videos. So the children are getting internet access either at home or at school, and you know they're not watching this type of stuff at school because the schools are set up where the children are not allowed to access certain content in school. So you have this technology in the computers at home, parents, to prevent your children from watching such things, and you absolutely positively you need to use it. These are your babies and you have to protect them. But a lot of times you get parents who's so busy trying to pop their coochie like Keri Hilson and ride it like Sierra that they too busy trying to be a friend to their child than they are a parent. But anyway, I just want to bring it all back home and say that do I think the music industry is oversexed? Yes and no. Yes, because the sex is more mainstream nowadays, but no, because the music industry has always been sexual in nature. It's just that back then people were a little bit more discreet about it. So I've said all I have to say. Peace, YouTube. Until the next time.